Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cloud Wars Live, where we're discussing the digital revolution that is taking place across the world in every industry and the role that technology is playing in that. We are delighted today to have the CEO of BMC, Ayman Syed, on to discuss with us a little bit about how his company is helping to contribute to that revolution and some of the remarkable new things that are happening with data-driven enterprise, the autonomous digital enterprise, and some other things that BMC is heavily involved in. Ayman, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Bob. Great to be on the show.
So, Ayman, there's a lot of things going on, right? You've got this company with a fantastic past. You've got, a proud legacy of what the company has done historically. You're helping to lead it into the new world of data and digital. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there and what your conversations with customers are like these days.
Sure. It's been exciting times at BMC. I joined as CEO in October 2019, and since then we've launched the vision for Enterprise 2025, which is a vision for how the world is evolving and how companies will succeed using technology. We created a framework called the Autonomous Digital Enterprise, or ADE, and it's a sort of a roadmap for companies and how they evolve their use of technology to accelerate their digital transformation. We, as a company at BMC, like our customers, we've been in business for a while, and we are certainly in our own journey to become an autonomous digital enterprise. We are putting a lot of focus on providing solutions for our customers to help them accelerate this transformation with technologies such as AI, automation across our portfolio to support them through their digital transformation.
So, so much has happened so quickly these days, and BMC does work with, companies throughout the Global 2000. What's your sense of the state of the enterprise tech business today and how BMC fits in that?
It's interesting. I would say for most businesses, it's a transformation that's taking place with sort of a foot in either camp. So you see a lot of systems of record that still forms the backbone of an average business as an enterprise, but they're also creating new systems of engagement in which the technology plays a key part in how to run the business. They're looking at business agility and ability to deal with change, to make decisions quickly, and to respond to changes in the landscape. I would say last year was a great example of the need for digital transformation, and the pandemic certainly accelerated the decisions to transform and investments for that across the board. Much of these investments were somewhat reactive, understandably so, but customers are looking at how lessons from last year can be applied in the future to reshape how their businesses run with technology.
Yeah, it's remarkable in some ways how quickly all of this is changing, right? I guess things like AI has been around for 30, 40, 50 years, but now it really seems to be coming into its own. The term that you used a few minutes ago about the autonomous digital enterprise, that, not that many years ago, it might almost have sounded like science fiction, but now the role that data is playing and some of the new technologies that allow data to be harnessed across an enterprise, they're really making this possible, right?
Absolutely. If you look at any business, large or small, and certainly most large global enterprises, they generate an immense amount of data. Data that covers every aspect of the business, data about how their consumers and customers are consuming their goods and services. And successful companies have to figure out how to use this data. And more important than just data in large volume is how to turn it into insights. Because of the volume and the different types of data, structured, unstructured, it can appear daunting, if you would, and almost impossible to decipher. But when we apply technologies like AI, like predictive analytics and machine learning, we can turn it into digestible insights that you can use to make business decisions and derive growth of the business into the future.
So, it's interesting, we hear everybody today talking about data, right? The importance of it, the significance of it. They talk about the democratization of data and so forth. You also hear companies talking about, especially after the pandemic, how important culture is to a company. But do you see among the big companies around the world that you talk to, are they fusing that? Or is there a data culture that's coming along to support the technological changes?
Indeed, it's been said that the most important aspect of that digital transformation, of becoming an autonomous digital enterprise, is really first and foremost about culture.
Mhm.
It's a shift in how we think and how we operate, and how business leaders from every function need to approach things differently. Gone are the days when we think about what's good for my function, what's good for my silo. It's more about what's good for a business and the company as a whole. The current transformation we're going through and the cultural shift means that alignment at every level of the enterprise across different functions, different businesses is absolutely needed so that we can propel the business, drive growth, and achieve the future state that every successful business is looking at.
So, I mean, it's interesting as you say that, right? You talked about the functional units and the different functional units converging on this and coming together with it. That I think is one of the most profound changes about how things are happening, right? There's got to be this more end-to-end perspective that everybody, all the leaders in the enterprise have. So do you find, are all the, C-suite players stepping up on this and taking a share of the responsibility for digital transformation?
I see very much evidence of this. Successful leaders, know that coming together, alignment in vision and on focus and the company goals at large, and the important role that technology plays as an enabler of this is extremely important.
Mhm. Mhm.
Technology and technology investment is no longer about the chief information officer or the CIO or the IT department, whether in your IT, you're in HR, you're in line of business, you're all into a technology business, regardless of what business you're in. And we see now successful businesses, leaders aligning, acting as a team with a common and shared vision and aspiration for becoming an autonomous digital enterprise.
So, I mean, how about for you now? It's been about 16 months since you came in as CEO at BMC. Uh, how do you see the company coming along and aligning with the vision that you've got for it?
It's been really great fun, and time is going by quick. My job at BMC is to provide and pave the way for a clear and aligned vision and a direction of the company that help focuses on the path to become an autonomous digital enterprise. We're going through a lot of change. We're reinventing ourselves. And BMC, like many of our customers, is a business we've been in business for a while, yet we continue to transform and reinvent ourselves. And so do most of our customers.
So, I mean, again, I think that that transformation coming back to it, right? I think there's a story that it was the CEO of, oh, who's the company that Mark Andreessen bought? Netscape. Sorry, I just blanked on a second. But Jim Barksdale, and he had been at FedEx before that. I think he was involved in the startup of WebMD. But he said at one point in a meeting, he said, "Look, there's lots of opinions around the table, and opinions are great, but I'm interested who has the data." He said, "If you got data, I want to hear about it. If we're just opinions," he said, "we'll use mine." So talk a little bit, Ayman, about the data-driven business and how that is affecting what companies are able to do and how they understand technology, how they're able to use it to do things they could never do before.
Absolutely. The term data driven business can almost apply to any company in any business. Simple term to say, but really involves a lot. When you look at the amount of data and the immense data that businesses create, it's been estimated that more than 59 zettabyte of data will be created and captured, will be copied and exchanged. That's a lot of data. You hear expressions like data is the currency of the 21st century. So clearly, this all is worth a lot. And if we can translate it into business insights and use it to make business decisions on what we offer, how we engage with customers, with partners. It has an immense value. It's all about capturing this data, digesting it, correlating it, applying analytics to it, and many examples of very successful businesses and how were they were able to take that immense amount of data, translate it into clear and crisp insights from a hospital in Tampa, Florida, that's using it to manage their ICUs during this COVID-19 pandemic and be able to allocate like cases to locations based on availability of ICU beds or data, to a trucking company taking tons of data from IoT devices in their truck and their fleet to manage how the maintenance schedule and routine can direct trucks to the nearest point of service that has the parts and the availability of the qualified staff. Many more examples of how powerful this data can be when it's translated into insights that can drive the business.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask too, it's an interesting perspective as we've discussed with BMC. So, a proud history in the traditional on-premise mainframe world, now becoming, such a player in the digital business, autonomous digital enterprise, data-driven business. How does BMC's history help enrich what you're doing with companies today?
Great question. We've been in business for over 40 years. We've partnered with our customers from different industry domains over the year, and we have a pretty in-depth understanding of many of the challenges that they face and the opportunities as well. That's the reason why we exist. We help them drive their digital transformation. We help them in their journey to become an autonomous digital enterprise. Last year accelerated the plans for many of our customers to drive digitization, automation, and apply technologies like AI in their business out of necessity. In many cases, it was reactive, understandably so, given the global pandemic. But it's exciting time to take a lot of the learned lessons and the potential for this technology and what it enables and drive their future paths to drive growth and to differentiate from their competition. And at BMC, we're super excited to be there to partner with them and guide them along the ways with both technology, enablement, and the knowledge of how to drive that transformation.
Yeah, it's a such an essential combination these days, right? To be able to pull all those different pieces together. And I know that in some cases we see some of the newer, almost like cloud only companies there. They have some fantastic technology, but it seems uncoupled from how so many companies actually operate. They don't understand anything like before the year 2010 or 2005. So it seems like that ability to see the sort of the broad arc of history, where things have been, where they are now, and where they're headed. I mean, it's that's a unique and valuable perspective.
Indeed, the world is a complex one, and most businesses today have hybrid, multi cloud, on premise, on the cloud. Very few companies are cloud native, exist entirely on the cloud. Some examples in the last 10 years, most large scale businesses have heterogeneous, complex infrastructure, IT investments, and they require not only technology, but the expertise, the knowledge, and the history that brought us to here and that takes us into the future and where the world and technology is going.
I mean, I've been glad to hear about your sense of excitement and optimism. I share that. I think 2021, for all the challenges that we face in the world, there are some incredible opportunities here. So, where do you see, sitting here in January of 2021, where do you see the whole world of enterprise technology and digital business headed?
I am very excited, optimistic, and bullish on the future ahead of us. I think last year was tough. It taught us to pivot quickly. And there are great learned lessons that we took from there that will make us stronger and more effective moving forward. We no longer have to go and make the case for becoming an autonomous digital enterprise. Every business understands the need for it and the benefit from it. And we're now focused on how to drive this and accelerate the pace of transformation. I look forward to years of growth, rebounding, and accelerating business and growth for the industry and the economy as a whole. Good times ahead of us for sure.
Well, I mean, thanks. That's a message that I hope everybody hears. I think we need to think that way. There's certainly, as we've said, some challenges. We've all got to keep working hard on things, but where things are today, again, it almost seems um, like just going back a few years, this just wouldn't have been possible. It would have been beyond what some people felt was capable. But here we are, and it's great to hear your message of hope and optimism coming out there from as the CEO of BMC.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks for being with us. It's a pleasure to hear some of your thoughts on this. And to all of you in the Cloud Wars Live audience, thank you for being with us here for this episode of Cloud Wars Live with the CEO of BMC, Ayman Syed. See you next time. We enjoyed that discussion with Ayman Syed, the CEO of BMC, but also a little bit afterward, we had a chance to chat about before Ayman joined, he had an opportunity for a few months sabbatical between jobs. And Ayman said he put together a bucket list and had an opportunity to, as he said, really methodically go through and enjoy some of those. And Ayman also noted how it was uh, fortuitous for him that that happened before the pandemic and travel to these sorts of opportunities wasn't possible. So here's Ayman Syed talking a little bit about his bucket list and how he got through some of those during his sabbatical.
I mean, it's just, I think it's a natural temperament.
Mhm.
It just an innate personality trait, if you would.
That's a
But I certainly, I mean, I put a list, like I had a little bit of a sabbatical, if you would, between Computer Associates and BMC. And in the span of a few months, I put a list and I was going like methodically through it, things from certain fly fishing destinations to learning how to play classical guitar to experiences and so on. Mostly hobby, not business related, but it was a lot of fun. It was a really fulfilling, really fun time.
oh, that's
But
great.
hopefully we'll get back there soon.